Hello there. According to the British government, more than 46,000 migrants crossed the English Channel illegally into Great Britain last year, and that is more than ever before. So Great Britain recorded the highest number of boat migrants crossing the English Channel in the past year, despite the British deportation policy. There were almost 46,000 in total, around 17,000 more than in the previous year, and that is more than ever before. Boat people who reach British waters are usually rescued by the British Coast Guard and taken ashore, where they are taken to collective accommodation and admitted to the asylum procedure. An unknown additional number reach the shores on their own and go underground. In 2022, Albania was one of the most important countries of origin. According to the Conservative government in London, people who reach the country in small boats should be able to be flown to Rwanda without an asylum application being examined and instead seek asylum in the African country. Only recently, the London High Court has declared this procedure to be fundamentally lawful, but there's still the ECHR. However, such an expulsion has not yet taken place. A first attempt failed in the summer due to resistance from the European Court of Human Rights, and they will step in again, I'm sure. Despite numerous announcements, the Conservative government has not been able to stop the rapid increase in landings. A plan decided under Prime Minister Boris Johnson to fly them out to Rwanda without examining their asylum application has, as I said, so far not been implemented due to legal objections, nor has the idea of stopping refugees at sea and sending them back to France with so-called illegal pushbacks. For the government of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who has been in power since October, the increasing number of boat people is considered a problem because it is increasingly affecting their poll numbers. Banning boat travel is at the top of ruling Conservative voters' political wish lists for 2023 in a new poll, ranking third overall by all respondents after improving healthcare and tackling the inflation crisis. Shortly before Christmas, Great Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced that he would further tighten asylum legislation. Regulating migration was an argument put forward by Brexiteers. The English Channel separates Europe, the continental Europe and Great Britain. Between French Calais and British Dover, the shortest distance between the coasts is around 32 kilometers. The ferry crossing takes around 90 minutes. Tickets cost around €26 for pedestrians without a car, but not for those, however, who want to enter the country without a passport or visa. They risked the crossing under life-threatening conditions on overcrowded inflatable boats. The weather conditions are often unfavorable. The English Channel is one of the busiest waterways in the world. There are strong currents and freighters cannot brake abruptly and take evasive action. The strong increase in transit migrants is mainly explained by the corona pandemic and Brexit. Due to the pandemic, there has been less traffic to the UK. This has also reduced the chances of a successful escape because many have previously tried to enter the country illegally by trucks, for example. At the same time, there is big business behind the migration. The traffickers reacted flexibly to the fact that Great Britain left the EU. The Dublin procedure no longer applies to the UK, because as an EU state, the UK could still check whether people were previously in another safe EU country. That country was then responsible for carrying out the asylum procedure. Now the UK is without the Dublin rule and has failed to reach bilateral agreements with EU countries. From the point of view of Sylvia Hahn, migration researcher at the University of Salzburg, the strong increase in transit migrants is mainly rooted in Brexit. The labour market in Great Britain was reformed after Brexit. Numerous migrant workers from Poland and Romania, who represented the largest group of migrants from EU countries before Brexit, left the country, explains the expert. And what was the result? a great need for workers in numerous areas of employment which previously EU migrants filled. And there have been numerous job opportunities for non-EU immigrants. From their point of view, another factor is the closure of the camp in Dunkirk, who had been known for years for its intolerable conditions. As early as 2016, the United Nations Refugee Agency UNHCR reported worrying conditions in the camps in Calais and Dunkirk. Reports of sexual exploitation and trafficking of unaccompanied minors in the camps were particularly shocking. The number of migrants who crossed the English Channel was therefore already very high in previous years. Between 20 and 25,000 crossed the Channel every year, but mainly in trucks and containers. And in October 2019, the bodies of 39 Vietnamese people were found in a refrigerated trailer in Grays near London. They had died from lack of oxygen and lack of heating. The migrants were to be smuggled into the UK in this way. Smuggling by boats across the Channel is no less dangerous. As accidents have shown, the smugglers are completely unscrupulous about the equipment of the boats and regardless of the weather conditions, which pose an additional risk with this type of channel crossing. And geographer Glorious explained that people still dare to make the dangerous crossing with their social capital. The lingua franca, English, is a major pull factor. People want to start a new life. Many come from Iraq, Iran, Syria, Eritrea, and they speak English. Iraqis and Iranians in particular could head for an existing community in Great Britain because of family or friendship ties. In addition, there is no registration system in Great Britain, which is not insignificant for newly arriving migrants. And that is a point I talked about earlier. Here in Germany, we have IDs, and every German has to have an ID by law. If you don't have one, you get fined. And secondly, you have to register immediately after moving with the civil service in the place, in the city or town you live in, that you live there. Your place of residence is registered. And that is why no one here has to apply for elections or whatever, because we're all registered. The city knows who is eligible to vote, for example. Some will say that is Big Brother, blah, 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 and Nazi time and so on. No, but this is something that helps you be in control of your country. And that is not too a big grab into the freedom rights of the people just to register where your flat is. I mean, we still have phone books. Your address is in there if you want it. So, and how many data are people sharing on the internet? Everybody that is watching this channel probably gave more information on the internet every day than I gave to my government. And you're sharing it with people you don't know. And, well, I do the same, but I'm not posting personal information on Facebook or something like that. But there's a lot that people give away every day, and then they complain about IDs or residence registration. And that is something so ridiculous if you think about this. If there are people who don't use any social media, who don't use mobile phones, they are the ones that can say, no, I don't want an ID, I don't want a residence registration because I'm very fond of my data. If they do it as a straight purpose, okay, I can understand them. Everybody else I can't understand because they are given away so much personal information every day that I can't take them seriously in this discussion about IDs and residence registrations. Sorry, it's just a fact. And most people on this planet are like that. And so I really don't see that point. But it makes it easy for illegal immigrants to go underground in Britain. How do you want to find them? Except in if something happens, like a car crash or whatever, and ever check their ID or passport or whatever, then you might stumble upon them. But otherwise, easy life for them. And the other part is Brexiteers promised take back control of our borders. And there was a lot of racism and xenophobia in this campaign about immigration. And people are still writing in the comments under my videos about immigration was the main point for Brexit and we didn't care about the economy. Yeah, but that is racist and xenophobic, what I read there. Because, and it's stupid. Great Britain is not that different from Germany. And we have these idiots here too that don't understand that we need immigration. We need a lot of immigration. If I got the number in my head correctly at the moment from the current government, we need about 400,000 immigrants a year to fill up the jobs that can't be filled and to keep up our pensions. Those immigrants coming will be responsible for paying our pensions in the future. Well, I'm self-employed all my life, so my official pension will not be that high, but still somebody has to pay it, whatever I get there. But no, that's what people don't think about. And the other point is, of course, there are people living on benefits. We have the same here. We had the discussion here in the EU about people just coming over to claim benefits. But there were changes made, and there still have changes to be made about that one. And the problem with the Kindergeld, I know that myself. It's not everything bright and shiny here. There are still problems on this, but we are working on this, and they still have to work on this. But it's not a reason to shut everybody out, because within the EU, the freedom of movement meant that the UK had a lot of skilled workers they needed. They are gone. I was talking since Brexit really came into effect about this, about the shortage of workers in so many places. And those people really don't get it. And where are those people that always said these immigrants take our jobs away? Why are they still living on the dole instead of taking those jobs? They are there. There's tons of open jobs in the UK. Why is there still tons of people on the dole? Why is there still tons of people claiming benefits? And I'm talking not about immigrants, I'm talking about British people that are always claiming they took our jobs away. Yeah, we have the same idiots here. We have tons of open jobs still as well. By far not as many as in the UK. But we have the same idiots here. Arguing about immigrants, hate speech about immigrants, about taking our jobs. And then they don't take any of these jobs. And we have the same in the UK. And it all came to light with Brexit. There's always a certain amount of racism and xenophobia in every country. But it's usually simmering under the surface on a certain point. But Brexit brought it up from under the surface, and with that it multiplied, because a lot of people spread this nonsense, and people are out there that can be influenced. And that's why we have a higher amount today in the UK than in several other countries. And that is one of the problems. And they still don't understand it. We in the industrialized nations need immigration. Of course, we can't take in every refugee from the world. Our systems would not be able to handle them. But we also, besides from immigration, we need to help people from wars, etc. So asylum seekers and war refugees have to be helped. And I know some EU countries still don't understand this, that we here in the EU need to spread them evenly according to population over the EU. But we have to help as much as we can. We can't help everyone, and we can't help endlessly. But we can help as much as we can. And there's the limit. But we have not reached that limit. And so we still can help people that are suffering from war. We saw how we could do this, especially with people from Ukraine. There's so many people from Ukraine and Poland at the moment. There's not that much, but also a lot of people from the Ukraine here in Germany. And we could do it, and we still are doing it. The Ukraine is a little bit different because they got special rules because of the closeness, and we could make a lot of things easier here. But still, we're still having a lot of refugees coming in from Syria and other places, and we are still dealing with that. We have to help as long as we can and not fight them because they're coming. But I've preached enough for today. I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.